Welcome, friends. I have a really fun series that I'm going to do right now, and probably for the next 4 or 5 lessons, where I take someone's photo that's okay and I sort of make it my own. I'd like to show you the processes that I use for creating images that are dynamic and hopefully useful for advertising or just simply sharing with the world. So, for example, in this picture, this is taken by Estelle Purdy, the owner of Petra Trek Tours. And she just asked me to sort of jazz this picture up because it's really interesting. The side of the building has this fabulous artwork on it. But what we want to do is just make it a little bit more appealing for social media and for advertising because she does tours and photographic tours, by the way, one of which I'm leading. I'm really excited about that, to Jordan. So I believe this shot was in Amman. So let's get right to it. So this is a JPEG, so I'm already not working with a raw image, which I usually like to because raw images are amazing. So I'm just going to see what we can do here. Now I'm using Lightroom desktop version, and I'm going to go to my edit side here. And at the very bottom, I usually like to go to geometry, and I usually just see what Lightroom does. So I'll go to auto, and let's just check that. And what happens with auto is that it scans the entire document and it does its best to locate vertical lines and horizontal lines. Now in this instance, all of the lines that are relevant are vertical. So with the line straightened, the next thing we have to deal with is what about the space up here? I really feel that it's a little bit too claustrophobic. So whenever we have a situation like this, there's not much we can do except in Photoshop we could actually add more sky, which is okay. However, we're not going to go into Photoshop because this is going to be a Lightroom CC lesson. So what I would probably do is initially get rid of some of this because it's not really a part of the picture and it doesn't really tell too much of a story. So I'm going to go to crop. I'm going to pull the crop in. Now you may wonder, where do you take the crop? Usually I like to find good, strong vertical lines, such as the edge of this building, and I would align it with the rule of thirds grid. So as you can see, the rule of thirds grid is now perfectly placed on the vertical. The nice thing about that is, as well, the woman's face is now in the crosshairs of the left vertical third, which is really helpful, so that's good. However, I feel that we can do better. At the bottom, there's really nothing here that is really grabbing my attention or that's adding to the picture. There's no narrative, no story, nothing really. Now, it's okay to keep a base of a building, but is it really telling a story? I don't think so. So I'm just going to raise the crop up. And this is really effective because often we want to have a person's face in the crosshair. So this is just a little bit better. So what's next? Well, I don't feel that this edge here does anything for the picture. So let's just crop in. So we're getting tighter and tighter. Now a lot of people say, well, Mark, you're really losing resolution. That's going to degrade the quality of the picture. I have a really interesting news flash for you, and it's a common misconception. When you crop, you are not degrading the quality of the picture at all. That's a myth. What does happen is when you print out your picture and you expand it beyond its resolution, that's when you get a degraded image. But cropping does not change any pixels within the space that you've cropped. So let me give you an example. So let's just say that we wanted to crop like so. Now the pixels that I have not changed, the quality has not changed one aspect. All we did was get rid of the left and right and some bottom. The only exception, and this is where people get confused, is if I printed this out quite large, well, me cropping the sides and the bottom, it's true that that will cause a little bit of a very, very slight amount of softness, but it's really not that big a deal. So I would say crop to your heart's content, especially if it makes your picture much better. Okay, so what about this space up here? I don't know what to do with it. Actually, like I said, I'd probably go into Photoshop. Let's just see what happens if we get rid of that little area that jags out. Okay, this is not ideal, and I'm not super happy with this, so I think what I'll probably do is try to go even further so it doesn't look like a mistake. Let's see what happens. Okay, again, not ideal, but we are certainly getting there. Now, at this point, we would say, is it acceptable to crop so tight? Don't we lose the fact that it's a building? Well, that's possible. However, we do have the door, we do have these windows, so I think it's okay. So the next thing I would do is I'd go to Light. I'm going to bring up the exposure a bit, and I love bringing down the blacks. This is really great for making a really punchy image. Okay, so that's good right there. And for advertising purposes, and this is what Petra Trek Tours wants, is images for advertising for their website and so on, I would say that this is probably decent. However, you can go a little bit further if you so desire by going to something called a profile. And under profiles, you can choose any profile you want. And a lot of people are used to Instagram filters. It's very similar to an Instagram filter, except far more powerful. Okay, so let's just go to, let's try modern. Let's go flip through these modern. Okay, so let's just go with modern. Let's go with modern 8. Okay, so with modern 8 done. And yeah, I like that. It's ready to roll. Now, a lot of people would rightly say, I'd prefer to get rid of this wire and, of course, this section up here. And yes, I agree. In my own street photography, I don't do that. However, because this is for a client and for advertising, of course, that would be very, very silly not to do. Okay, so a very simple healing brush would work there. Okay, so let's just get out of that, and here's the picture. And I just like to also put a word in for Petra Trek Tours. I'm leading a photo workshop, as I said, to Jordan. We're going to go to Petra and Amman. It's going to be fantastic. So in order to learn photography with me, please check out markhemmings.com. And there's a link to the Petra Trek Tours website, and you'll get all the information about this wonderful journey into the Middle East. And I love the Middle East. It's a fascinating place. And I really like to share my love for this region with you and teach you photography at the same time. We're going to have a lot of fun. Also, lightmob.io is the online platform that I use to teach photography. It's actually photo apps. Any photo app that you want on your iPhone, I can teach you through lightmob.io. So check out that link in the description below as well. Have a great day and check back tomorrow for another Lightroom lesson.